Welcome. How is everybody? All right, so this is the first official event of the fall 2024 for the Hub. So we're really excited. I'm Tasha Williams, the Managing Director here at the Hub. And just welcome. If you haven't been here, we'd love to show you around. Right, so this is the first lunch and learn of the season. We have out there, I think you guys took those, but tons of events going on every week, right? So I told my team, put your tennis shoes on after today, and we're running all the way to December. So be ready for a lot of that. I'm glad that you're here. You're in for a treat. So I want to tell you a little bit about our speaker. So we have Jim McCarley and his wife, Lynn. She's a delight, by the way. And so let me just tell you kind of how we met, right? So I met Jim probably a year ago, I'd say a year ago. And he's an alumni, and he's going to tell you more officially about me. I'm just going to tell the fun stuff real quick, and then he'll get down to the good stuff. So he came here and wanted to make a difference at Texas Tech, right? He wants to blaze a trail for us, something that hasn't been done before in innovation and entrepreneurship. And I have to say he's already done that, but we're on our way to some really good things. He's going to share a little bit more about that. But one of the things that Jim was able to do is help us launch the Industry Advancement Technology Accelerator Program. So for the first time ever, we have a cohort of 5 teams going through our accelerator program, specifically in artificial intelligence technology, advanced manufacturing, robotics, and what am I missing? I think that's it. Advanced manufacturing. Yes. AI. Okay. Did I say it all? And so this is huge. We've had teams like that before, but this is very specific. So what it's done is set the stage for getting those deep technology teams in here, made it a little more attractive. So we got some funding around it. We also have mentors specifically designed in those areas to push them to the next level. I see, raise your hand if you're in the accelerator. See several of you here. Great. I just met somebody this morning when I said, hey, you got to do the accelerator program. And I mentioned the IAT, and their face lit up and they just busted out the door ready to work. So this is something we haven't been done before. So thank you for your support. We also have some exciting things in the works. We are going to be establishing the first ever endowment for Texas Tech for innovation and entrepreneurship. That's huge. It deserves a clap. I'm just saying. Go ahead. Yep. Yeah. So I'm going to let Jim share more about that during his talk. But just know we're going to be talking about that a lot in the coming months, because it's going to be something that's huge for Texas Tech, not only just the innovation of it, Texas Tech and Lubbock and West Texas. All right, so I'll pass it off. He's fun to be around. He has a lot of experience he's going to share. But the reason why I wanted to talk on this subject is because we had a conversation about this after we got through all the trailblazing and the change making and all the big stuff. He said, I got to tell you what else I do on the side. I'm like, you got more? And he told me about this, and I immediately, without even going through the entire thing, I picked up 2 or 3 things that he just told me in passing and implemented it in my current job right now with my team, and it's made all the difference. And so I can't wait to learn more and dive more and see what kind of change we can make. So without further ado, Jim McCarley. Here we go. There you go.
All right, so I got to pull off a couple of things together, a mic in the left hand and a clicker in the right hand. So hopefully it'll work out okay. All right, so this is the lunch and learn. So what I want to do as a speaker is right off the bat, I want to make sure you learn a few things. I want you to learn a little bit about EOS, but I also want to make sure, some people may ultimately say EOS wasn't exactly what I expected. So I wanted you to walk away with a few. The first one is, and I'll talk a little bit more about my background, but because of what I've done over the last 35 years, I've kind of become a connoisseur of seeing something in advance of it being a problem. And through business, there's been lots of opportunities to do that. And so it's sort of, I don't know that it's something everybody really likes, a guy can show up and kind of show you where some flaws are that might be a problem. But let's talk about the Innovation Hub. This is an awesome place. Y'all, this place is doing great things. Startups here, you're fantastic. There's stuff about just living here in Lubbock and making it happen here that you can only do from here. And all those things that come out about tech in terms of what its potential is, they're also true. There's so many things about this place that's special. The audacity that they put this building up in the middle of a prairie and without, a really well-established, compelling ecosystem here, that's getting out there. But they made a little flaw. They didn't, as part of putting this wonderful building together, realize we've got to have endowed programs. We can't only have an innovation hub that's sustained by sort of university financing. That's not how any part of the other parts of the university work. They don't work that way. Endowments are so essential. And so some people don't necessarily maybe like me showing up at the door because I'm saying, hey, this is a problem. We've got to fix it. Let's get an endowment. And oh, by the way, and this is before you start us, having an endowment's great. You're going to learn how to do it. And there's going to be some ideas that are just going to take it to the moon. But you need funding. And guess what? Startups sometimes have a little trouble with that very first stage of funding. So we don't only want an endowment, we want funds that are perpetually there so that when we bring people through, and we're not going to just give it to anybody that it just comes because you signed up and made it through the program, you get it. But those special things that really do have the potential to launch, we don't want to make that based on the investment criteria. We want to make it based on let's build an ecosystem in this city. Let's build an ecosystem in West Texas. Let's build an ecosystem at Texas Tech. And let's also put an endowment that supplies those funds. So guess what happens? You get a perpetual engine of innovation. What happens when that happens? You know what? You start cultivating more people, more ideas, and numbers matter. And we'll start to be able to do that. So I've got a challenge for you. Number one, you probably just got educated on something that I hope you really understand. We've got a tragic flaw here at Texas Tech. We need an endowment that sponsors what we're doing through the Innovation Hub. And we need an endowment that brings financial incentive or funding into the group. So that's your education. Here's your second thing. There's a way for you to do it right now. And what I need more than anybody else to help move this thing forward are numbers. So there's something called the Club for Innovation. And we set that up specifically so that anybody, and really any amount is okay, but you can go to the website on Texas Tech, you can type in Club for Innovation, and there'll be a link for you to make a crowdfund donation. Hell, $10. You kind of say 100 is sort of the minimum, but we can get a little wishy-washy on that. But there will be other things that we roll out. We want to get the numbers in. So if you're in the cohort now, pay it forward. Get into the Club for Innovation. If you're in the ecosystem out there and you want to become part of this place, get in the Club for Innovation. Help create the reality that we need to make this place even better than it already is. So I wanted to say that right at the beginning. Yes, ma'am.
With that, kind of are you part of the SCCC on the Texas Tech campus? Are you listed on there?
No, not yet. No, it's more nonprofits in the community.
Okay.
That is, but that's a good idea for the future.
Yeah.
That's just the state charitable campaign.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
Those that we give every year, I'd rather give something.
Exactly.
there you go. There you go. All right. Well, all right. So there we go. The lunch and learn. That's the first thing that I wanted you to learn. The second thing is I want to talk a little bit. I'm going to do it right at the front end of how you build good psychology before you start a meeting. There's something called a segue. And a segue at the beginning of the meeting has a very distinct purpose. It's to get you out of whatever you just left whatever frustrating thing just happened, and get you into the mood of what are we gonna do here today and now. So a segue is a masterful thing to help pull a room into a new space. So I'm gonna ask you to do this, although I'm not gonna call on everybody in the room because we wouldn't be able to get through it. But I want you to just think back for one moment and say, over the last week, or maybe even today, what's the most positive thing? What's a personal best that happened? What did you accomplish that was a personal best? Number two, what was a business best or a school best or whatever? What positive thing around where you're trying to take yourself from a business endeavor or a career or a school endeavor? What was that positive thing that happened? And then in a room like this, even this big, you share it. So I did a little bit of seating, and Tasha, tell us what your personal and professional bests are.
Okay, so personal, lately been struggling to find some quiet time to really do some thinking. So this week and last week, got up an extra hour early. Okay, it's been fine after a week, it takes a minute. Get early and spend some time thinking through my day, right? So now I can come in, when I walk in the door, I'm ready to go. To me, that was a personal thing for me because I had to kind of adjust myself in my schedule, but it's changed everything. I can think clearer, I feel better. So that's that. Then professional?
Yes.
Professional, so gonna put a little plug in. I think that's what the purpose is. So plug in, the Innovation Hub has just received a huge partnership with the NSF, National Science Foundation, I-Core. But for the West Left, so that's a group that involves USC, UCLA, some really big names. And so I finished my training last night to teach as an instructor for ZAP, and that was really tough for me. I had to study a lot, I had to go and kind of get out of my comfort zone, and I did it. And I'm excited, so it's a great day today.
It is. That's a good deal. Ryan, that was a personal professional best.
I have a microphone, so I guess I'll use it. So personal best, I'm not usually a person that like goes places by myself a lot. So I did get invited to a private invite for the symphony, but I didn't have anyone to go with. And so I actually stepped out of my comfort zone and went to that by myself. And there wasn't a lot of younger people that were my age, but I was able to still get out of my comfort zone and talk to people. And I mean, I love to talk to you, but I don't usually go places by myself, so that was different. So professional best, I would say like all of y'all are here. Look, we have our first event of the fall, and also I have been trying to get ready for all of our fall events that we will tell y'all at the end of the session, but this is my like second full fall here at the Innovation Hub, and so I feel very accomplished of how far I've come and how much I've prepared already for this semester. So, and I did a lot of that this week.
All right. When you're doing segue, get some positive energy into the room. You're thinking about your personal and professional. Let me tell you mine. All right. So my personal, 42 years ago this month, I met my to-be wife. 42 years ago, but 42 years since we've known each other, this is the first time she has ever seen me at work doing work. Now, this is also my first time to be doing this type of work for a large group like this. So full disclosure, guess what? I don't know exactly how long this presentation is supposed to take, but I know you gotta leave here at noon. So we've designed it to let me get out of jail and get out of here at the right time. And I know I've got to get Ryan in 5 minutes. So some of what I cover, I won't cover as in depth as you may want. But we're going to give you lots of information and we'll let it roll. All right. So that is my personal best. I think it's kind of a good one. Here's my professional best. I made a decision about 8 years ago that for number one, I'm never retired. I have a great examples in fathers and grandfathers. I don't want to retire. I don't also need to be a millionaire. I just want to do things that are relevant. And in the last third of my life, when I'm hoping 90 is, sort of still not enough, there's more to come. I want to be doing something for this next third that is, really fulfilling. And that's helping people. So my professional best is, I'm hoping I'm going to help the number of people in this room learn a couple of things today. And I hope it's the start of something going forward. So those are my personal professional bests. And so with that, let's talk a little bit more about me, but then move into the EOS. So about me, and there's going to be two about me. I want to educate you on my life before EOS, and as soon as I hit the next button and we go into the screen, I'm talking EOS. But as is true when you've been in business and for 35 years, I start thinking about how to partition my life, and there's really kind of a continuum of things overlap. So let me give you a little bit about my background in that law. Pre-EOS. First, I'm a first-time graduate, first-time college student from my family, Texas Tech grad, class of '87, 5-year plan, C student. Electrical engineering, guess what? It's a pretty hard major to get your way through, especially when you realize, oh my God, it's quantum physics that I'm doing. This isn't, how to wire a house. So number one, that's where I start. And I started business. I was a corporate guy straight off the bat. I went into companies that were corporations. I started out as an engineer and I worked my way all the way through till I rung the bell as a CEO of a publicly traded binder jet printing company called X1. And I found out when you find out when you're the CEO of a publicly traded small cap technology company that is the investors matter, and if they lose a little bit of confidence in the company and the stock goes down, the CEO goes bye-bye. So I rang that bell in 2018 and said, made it, don't want to do that anymore. And the continuum for me is, fortunately, at about 2011, for 30 years, about somewhere around 2011, I started entrepreneurial type of work. Because my father had an entrepreneurial business and I started helping him. We started a little property management company and made things work. So I started to see entrepreneurs. And ironically, at that same time, I started working with companies that we were acquiring. Because at this point, I'm a C-suite executive and we're out acquiring companies in technology that have been developed to a reasonable point where the owners of those companies are trying to scale the business and grow. And guess what? The reason that they were there for us to buy was the owner could no longer see how he could take his business to the next level. They were out of energy. They were fully strapped. They were ready. And so this corporation buying my startup or buying my old startup that's now a viable business became their solution. Well, guess what? We did 15. Let me tell you how many CEOs made it to the next year. 0. All 15 of them left the company. And guess what? The company was different because they left. It was a different thing. And so I have a point, and this is it. As I started to think about what I was going to do going forward, and this is at about 30 years into the mix, I started saying to myself, I would start helping those entrepreneurs before they become cast in. My only option is to now sell my company. I want them to know how to grow their company and still own their company. And you know what? There may be an exit ahead for them, but I'm not the right guy if what you're wanting is how do I get 3 years and an exit? I'm the right guy if you want to be, how do we grow deep value? And why is that relevant? EOS helps you grow deep value. And it's targeted at certain size companies, but there are single individuals in here right now today that you can start applying the EOS tools and you're going to get something from it. You're going to move forward. You can be a business of one. It looks a little different, and I'll talk about who the target people are. But the reality is, everybody in this room, can get something positive. All right, so here goes the journey. So here's the agenda. We're gonna talk about getting real. And right off the bat, I hope you've already seen it. I call it like I said. So we're gonna talk about the realities of why you need EOS. Secondly, it is simple. And what's really good is that most of this stuff you can do in a very short period of time. Training, sometimes it's written 2 pages in a book. Sometimes it is 5 minutes. Sometimes it is just sort of, you know, realizing that I just need to go sit down and organize myself for a day. And then, but it's not hard. None of this stuff, it's not complex, it's simple. Secondly, it'll help you get results. And how I'll show you that is that we're gonna like super fast forward pretty soon into something called a level 10 meeting. Why did I do the segue at the beginning? Because I didn't want to cover it when I was in the level 10 meeting, but we'll talk about a level 10 meeting and the power of that. And yes, I have yet another little story before we get there, but the bottom line is you're gonna walk out today, and if you've run a group meeting, you're gonna have the tools to run the best meeting you've ever run. And it may not be great number one, day one, but by about meeting 4, there's going to be a whole lot about what you like, because it's just something that's tried and true. All right, so when I say get real, here's what EOS does. Number one, it emphasizes honesty and transparency. You've got to talk about what's wrong as well as what's right, and you've got to build a team that embraces that. Hidden agendas and hidden issues are the kinds of killers to a business. Needs to be simple, and simplicity is key. You've got to bring accountability into a business if you're going to be successful, or into a startup if you're going to be successful. So you got to put processes in place that encourage accountability. And you need to focus on results, because what's the point? If it's all about just doing it with no result, then, you know, there's probably some better ways to spend your time. So that's about getting real. You want to bring honest and transparency with simplicity, accountability, and focus on results. Let's tell you a little bit about EOS. Number one, here's the brief history. EOS was created by an entrepreneur. His name is Gino Whitman. He's all over the information that you're going to find. Gino, at about 27, went into a family business and found out that that business needed a turnaround. And he managed to make that turnaround happen. And as he was working through that turnaround, he started realizing things about a business that were issues that he had to solve. And he took that business and ultimately ran it for about 7 years. So he didn't just turn it around and flip it. He turned it around, ran it for about 7 years, and then he transitioned it into another company. And then he did something that doesn't happen very often. He actually laid over with that company and went a couple more years before he exited. All the way through this, he started realizing there were some tools that he could use that were really making a big impact. And sort of like me, when he started to see that he was going to move into another direction, he started into an entrepreneurial organization, EO, and a Detroit-based EO group. So there were 15 other entrepreneurs in that group. And Gino realized, hey, you know what I did for myself? I really got a knack and a passion to put systems in place for other business. So in 2000, he started doing that process and developing EOS. So EOS has been alive and well, started and seeded in the year 2000. Now, so it's come from an entrepreneur, it comes from other entrepreneurs, so it has really deep roots there. Today, there's over 200,000 companies that are using EOS. The goal is that they're going to take it to 1 million. There are over 1,000, they're approaching 1,000 implementers, such as myself, that go in and help businesses do this. And they have a fantastic conference that hosts about 20,000 annually, where they go in and they talk about the EOS life, where they were transformed by what EOS did inside the business. Now, who is the target business? Anybody that likes what they hear, no matter what your size. But who are the targeted businesses that'll use an implementer and probably be successful? Well, somebody with somewhere between 5 and 250 employees, somebody that's making revenues somewhere between a couple of $1 million and all the way up to 500 million in some cases. But it's an owner that knows they need help. It's somebody that understands that to move forward, to stay the same is going to kill them. They've got to change and they've got to transform, and that they're willing to take the journey to go through the next process. That's the target business. So if you fit one of those, maybe you want to talk to me after. If you don't fit one of those, but you like the EOS system, it's still good for you, just probably doesn't require, or is it probably improved by having an implement? Might be a little too expensive for a single person. So, yeah, that's the target group. Now let's talk about me from not the full background anymore. Well, I want to talk to me about sort of my discoveries. So my background is I decided to move into EOS because I got recruited by former employees of mine. People when I was in the C-suite that at some point left the company and they started to become EOS implementers. And they came to me and they said, hey, I hear you're not in the CEO tracks anymore. I really think there's something that you might be good at. And so that's how I learned about EOS. I learned by a friend saying, hey, I'm going to give you a helping hand. I think this is something that might be good for you to do. So I looked at it and I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to start training. So as I'm picking up the phone to call the guy that has helped me make client contacts as an independent consultant, doing contract CEO work and all kinds of various things, I said to him, hey, I'm about to change my career. I'm about to go into this thing called EOS. Instead of sending me all the clients that are in terrible shape, that need the guy that sees all the problems and tries to help them fix it, could you send me somebody that maybe wants to grow and move ahead? And he said, well, there's one, I think I can do that. But I've got this client in Alaska that needs an interim CEO because the CEO is contracting cancer. They got a new team. They need somebody to just show up and call balls and strikes and help these guys. And I'm like, wow, I'm just about to start training. And then he said, yeah, well, they're going to pay pretty good. And I said, I'm going to make training in a year. So I basically knew I wanted to do EOS, knew what EOS was about, and went to a new place. Why is that relevant? I had amazing discoveries once I realized what EOS was. And I went into a place as a CEO and I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and practice on my own. So I actually tried to self-implement EOS inside this telecom business in Alaska that I knew nothing about, and I dropped in out of nowhere. And I had fantastic results. And my discovery was, if I looked at the EOS model, there were things about it throughout my career which had great moments followed by not so good moments, where had I known about this EOS tool and had I used it, I think, I would have seen more successes in my career than I saw. I felt up, but some were failures. And whenever I looked at the failures, it was flaws in the EOS model, that there were areas that were not strong, and therefore that weakness was holding the company back. In a lot of cases, I hope you can tell, I can have some pretty strong personality about getting excited about something. I found that those tools sometimes just work like magic, sometimes they didn't. And the reason was that I had to be working on all 6 components, not just on the 2 that I kind of naturally bring into the room. And when I had been wildly successful, it was when I brought in 2 areas that I could make strong, and the other 4 already were. So the difference was, hey, they had 4 of 6, and I brought in the other 2. Bingo, wild success. But when I went into one that had 6 weak components, and I only brought in 2, guess what? It didn't move the needle. So the bottom line is this stuff works. All right. Now we're about to move a lot faster. So keeping it simple, first, keeping things simple, really create clarity and focus. They make it easier to implement. It creates effective problem solving. And it drives and it requires consistent execution. So those are the things that all make up the EOS system. Let's talk about the model. It starts with you or your business in the middle. You have to have a vision. If you have a vision, it tells you where you're going and how you're gonna get there. Doesn't matter what size you are. You gotta have the right people in the right seats inside of your company. You've got to have data. You've got to choose to use data to guide your decision making, not emotions. Once you have vision and you've got good people and you use data to guide your decision making, what happens? You find out the issues in your organization. And then if you find out the issues, then you got to fix them. So what happens 99% of the time when you find an issue? I'll bet you that there's a process that wasn't followed needed that would have corrected it. So it's almost logical. If you've got issues and you got to solve them, then you got to have strong processes that you put around this. Not complex, not extensive, not long SOPs, but good solid processes. And last, but not at all least, actually first, is you got to have traction. You got to constantly monitor where you are and hold yourself accountable to it. All right. And when you think about that, think about where you are and how where you are today and how it fits that model. And grade yourself from a scale of 0 to 100%. Do I have a vision in place that's exactly what I need? And do I have the traction? And do I have the right people in the right seats? Do I use data for all of my decision making? Do I even know all my issues? Are they all listed so that I have to keep them in front of me? And do I build solid processes around that? Well, you're somewhere between 0 and 100. The truth is that if you can get all 6 to 80%, you're going to have a business that's really going to thrive. Because the reality is, most of the time, each of these things are only about 20%. And despite that, the businesses will be making money and they'll be moving forward. But when you feel like you hit that stall, it's because one or more of those key components isn't at the 80% strong. So in a blitzkrieg, I'm going to show you some quick examples of what 80% strong looks like. But I want to leave you with this, because this is a very important takeaway. These 6 key components of EOS, they are simple, but they are not easy. But the reality is, if you'll commit and you'll put them into your business, you're going to create a resilient organization or a resilient ability of what you're trying to do. And it starts off with vision. Vision is where it all starts. So I'll spend a little more time on vision, and then I'll go really quickly through the balance of it to get to the level 10 meeting. So from a vision standpoint, you're going to answer 8 questions. And we'll talk about those questions. There's something called a vision traction organizer. It's a 2-page document, puts all this stuff together. If you're a startup company or if you're a regular company, it takes about 90 days and 16 hours worth of work to create a good strategic plan. That's pretty darn fast, and that's pretty darn good. What makes up that BTO? First off, you identify what your core values are. What is it that you have to have? I'll tell you a good example. My core value, I gotta earn what I need. I gotta bring value for the paycheck. And you'll figure out that that's important. And I'll think the same thing about everybody that's on the team with. I want you to bring value for what you make. So that's a core value. There'll be 3, 4, 5 of those for you. But you got to honor the fact that those core values are the belief system of the organization. And they're very important. They're first in this vision because of how important they are. But you won't just have them there as platitudes. You'll actually use this, and we'll show you where, that you'll use these core values as part of the other steps that you do. And not just here at core values, but that's true for everyone. And we got a handout, so you'll see a lot of this there. You've got to be able to know what your core focus is, your true north, the why that you're doing something. Not the how, but the why. Why are we doing what we're doing? What is it? Why am I doing this today? I want to help people. I want to help people more than I want to make money. So when I'm thinking about what I ought to be doing, if it's more about money than helping people, maybe I shouldn't be putting my time into it. Same thing for you. This is how you keep your true north. You don't let things get and distract you. Then you move to a 10-year target, or it could be a 5-year, it could be a 30-year. What you're doing, you're saying, what's that big goal out in 10 years that I want to be? Who do I want to be in 10 years? What do I want to see in 10 years? Me? I want about 15 businesses that are working with me every year, keeping me alive and vibrant and interested. Then you move to a marketing strategy. And when you think about that, that's your blueprint for how you spend money. And what's very important is those are precious dollars. And so we come through a series of tools that help you really crystallize who is it that I should sell to and why do I sell to them? What makes me what they need? And then last, and then you move forward, you've got a 3-year picture. So you build, now you're starting to get it a little bit more real time. That 3-year picture, that's what are the measurements? What's the revenue? What's the goals? What kind of profit am I looking for? What kind of measurables am I going to see inside my business that tell me I'm on plan for my 10-year target? You know, for me, heck, I better have about 5 or 10 businesses working with me if I'm going to have 15 in 10 years, right? And then the best part of it is you picture, you do visioning of what does this business look like in 3 years? What does my startup look like in 3 years? And you write them down so that you know exactly what you're doing. Next, you just do the most logical thing. Hey, if I'm going to make a 3-year plan, picture work, I better know what my annual plan is. So you drive those same things through. If I'm going to make my annual plan work, we all know that there are big priority problems that you've got to solve or improvements that you have to make that happen in your that are fundamental to your business being successful. We call those rocks. We call them rocks because they are the very first thing that you have to work on every day. You can't let all the little stuff get in your way. You've got to make sure that you're driving those rocks forward. And then you're doing that in a 90-day window. Something that says, what can I do over the next 90 days that moves my business forward, that accomplishes solving a problem or removing an issue, and you hold yourself to that. Next, and this is really kind of understated in where it comes to the list, but there's the issues list. On your strategic plan, what are the issues out there that are going to keep me from being successful? And thinking through and putting those together and holding yourself to the fact that you've created this list. And we'll talk more about how important issues are as we go through. Finally, you've got to share bio. So once you've got an 8 questions all answered, once you've shared them with your entire organization, that's what 100% strong looks like. If you've got the 8 questions, you haven't shared them with anybody but yourself. I don't know, you're somewhere between 0 and 40 maybe, but you're not 80% strong because until you start making that vision wider, it's not successful. So here, this is where time management, I'm going to end up having to blow because we've got about 8 minutes to give everybody the right time. Right people, right seat. There are some great tools here. What happens when you start worrying about people being in the right seat or having the right people in the right seats is you come up with 2 things. You find you've got the right people that meet all your core values, but they really can't do the job. You've got to deal with it. That's where the transparency comes. They've either got to change or you've got to move on. The other side of it, and this is a more difficult problem, is that you got the wrong person. Culturally, you got the wrong person, but they're awesome at that task. And that is so corrosive. So you got to go fix that. Because you're never going to get this thing strong unless you've got the right people in the right seat everywhere throughout your organization. And we give you tools that allow you to do that. One's called People Analyzer. This was going to be a lot of fun. Now I got to go through it fast. But what you do is you take these core values, and I'm going to read it real quick. Create an excellent student experience. Row or die. Toughest, good notes. We have to be when we're in West Texas. Hardest working. Definitely something that every tech could grab is good for it. Humbly confident. Mostly true, but sometimes. So then I said, Dr. Student, how does he fit? And my other favorite person, Tasha, how does she fit? And then I'm a huge football fan. What about college wins? And I thought, you know what? check, plus. Hey, man, they all share my core values. I will tell you with certainty that I've had a chance to observe Taj, and I've had a chance to spend time with Dr. Skubanek and with Keisha. They hit the mark on my core values of that. So that's the way, so you actually measure your employees to your core values. Guess what? Minuses mean they got it. When the wrong level of minuses and they can't be repaired, they have to go. Structurally, you got to have the right organization. And we'll give you a process by which that you'll do that. And I'm going to move through this quickly.
And
Because,
Jim, we'll table what we have to say, you keep going, this is good.
okay.
We take till you need to, and we can,
No, okay.
we can email out what we were gonna
We
say.
got to get to this, 9 minutes.
It's good stuff. Okay.
Level 10. All right. So now I want you to establish what your right seats are, and this we'll go ahead and spend a little time with. So marketing. So it starts off, every business has, every business looks like this. You've got a sales and marketing role, you've got an operations role, you've got a finance role. What does that mean? You got to acquire business and treat the customer well. You got to deliver the service, whatever it is, and cash goes in and cash goes out. So simplicity wise, every business exists like that. So you start from an accountability that says, these are the fundamental roles that are true in every business. And with EOS, we say that you've got two more things: an integrator, somebody that coordinates them all, and a visionary. The person that really shouldn't show up, but once every now and then with the great ideas, because they're actually distracted when you're trying to do the day-to-day stuff. The big idea people need to be managed. Most of the time, that's the entrepreneur. And then, so we take the marketing and sales strategy. I picked a semi-famous guy, not to be the, like, sort of the father of modern marketing. And so he's required to lead, manage, and hold his employees accountable. He's inquired, he's marketing manager, he's expected to have the role of developing marketing material. By the way, he's got sales, so we think he's supposed to hit sales. He's also got to sell, because it isn't just log in the win, he's got to go create the win. And the last thing is he's got to keep the customers happy. That's what we expect of Philip Copwood inside of our business. And he knows it. And then we say, now we've got to answer 3 questions. Does he get it? Does he actually get that that's his job? And does he want it? And lastly, does he even have the capacity to do it? That doesn't mean the mental capacity. That means, does he have enough time to make it happen? Because the truth of the matter is, most of the time, people get it, want it, but they don't have the capacity, and you've got to find where that role's got to move into the right. So now when I said these things all pull together, these aren't just exercises that you do to feel good. You actually put them into that people analyzer. Now you know whether they're the right people. That's the first part. They meet all our core values. Do they get it, want it, and have the capacity to do it? Well, here I say that's all it is. So that's the people. And then you do this throughout your organization. Because when you've got all the right people in the right seats, that's when you're 100%. Data, I love this thing. If you have data, if we have data, let's look at the data. If we have opinions, let's go with one. Right? And that's everybody in the room. So what you do is you put data in place that you look at on a weekly basis. You do it with a scorecard. You go find the things that are important to measure in your business or in your startup, and you measure them. And you say, okay, here they are. There's my scorecard. That's everything I'm measuring. Here are the goals. Oh, you mean I got a target I got to hit? Yeah, I've got something that's got to happen. And oh, by the way, who's responsible if it's off task? Well, Joe, Mary, Tom. And then guess what you do? You do this every week. Every week. Not once a month, not once a quarter. Every week. And you create similar measurables for other people in your organization. Because when your organization has a regular way of looking at scorecards and having people know where they sit relative to their measurables, that's when you're 100%. Okay, IDS, issues. Now that you've got the people and the vision and the scorecard, you know where you are, you're going to have issues. You go into something called the issue solving track. you got your issues list, you do something really important because most people, when they're in a meeting, they identify their issues. They do that pretty good, but then they get into the discuss, and they're very undisciplined in how they discuss. And they discuss and discuss and discuss until the meeting time's over, and then they never solve the problem later that. Okay, so I've got 7 things I ought to do. They also normally start with number 1, the first one that came up, and they work down the list. No, this is a really wild concept. It's pretty simple. No, take your time, set the meeting up so that as part of the structure, you identify what you're going to talk about first. What's the biggest issue? That's first. This is second. This is third. And then you go and you solve the issue. But there's something highly important here. You see that discuss? This is where I want to bring a little bit of my Alaska experience. When I went into that company, we went in, I decided level 10 is something I was going to implement. And when we started the level 10, I tried to go through this level 10 meeting and I tried to do it, identify, discuss, and solve. And I gotta tell you, it required intervention to get people to shut up, to stop. They were telling me how to build a watch when I asked for the time. And it was so counterproductive. I had to be very assertive. So I can't say this enough that I showed up with a team that was dysfunctional because they hadn't had a leader and they couldn't solve problems because all they did was talk about it. And this thing was transformative. We did more in the 10 months I was there than they had done in 2 years. And I didn't do anything but facilitate level 10 meetings. How could I do any more than that? I didn't know anything about telecom, and I was there to be a babysitter and call balls and strikes. That meeting was transformative. IDS was transformative. So when you have a list, guess what? And you IDS as your process, that's when you're 100% strong. And when you have processes, you put processes together because those issues invariably were processes that needed to happen. And you do discipline yourself. You don't have an SOP with 400 pages. Ideally, you got a 20-page procedure in. 20 pages, 2 pages for each of your key places, no more than about 10 core processes that you know you have to have. And you discipline yourself to that so that your table of contents can be covered in a 25-page document, not in the 400. And so on the people process, as the example that I showed here, you just break it down to the most important things. And that's what you spend time on. Because you're going to get 80% of the results from 20% of your process. It's the old 80-20, a little bit different thing. All right, so when you have those and you have everybody and they're followed by everybody in the organization, that's what 100% strong is. And then finally, you have attraction. Here I'm going to do. You've got, and this is important, vision without traction is hallucination. If you don't have a process to make your vision happen, it's no more than just thought. So we have a traction process, and that's through the meeting pulse. And a meeting pulse means this quite simple. Weekly, you meet for 90 minutes with your leadership. And you cover the meeting. Quarterly, you look at your 90-day windows and see how you're doing to work your business. And then annually, you spend 2 days working on the business. And what does it look like? What's the VTO look like? What needs to change? What do we need to have? And the level 10 meeting, well, it's a meeting that does the following, and I'm going to jump right to it. And by the way, we've got this handout, so I really only got to give it. Number 1, I want you to think about something. How effective are your team meetings today? Graded from 1 to 10. Number 2, what kind of accountability exists in your organization? Graded from 1 to 10. Last, how aligned is your organization around your plan? Graded from 1 to 10. If any of those are 2 or less than 80, level 10 meeting will help you. It'll change all 3 of them. Because it brings a 90-day world where you have a consistent way that you're doing something, and that rhythm really moves through the organization. So what's behind the agenda? Number 1, the segue. Put the right atmosphere in place. Open people up. Get them ready to solve problems. Scorecard, review what's going on in the business. By metrics you know are important. Rock review, where are you on progress? Build accountability for, is your plan where you need it to be for us to be successful? We need to complete that rock. Customer and employees, what are the things happening that we really need to make sure we understand weekly? Last week, we had some things everybody was supposed to go just do it. Did they accomplish it? Bring that accountability back. IES, that's where you do all of your problem solving. And then finally conclude. Now, the time management is the key to this. It starts with the following. You got 5 minutes to do it. You limit the sentences, 2 sentences or less. What was your personal best? What was your professional best? Not a paragraph, 2 sentences. You got to think about it in advance of the meeting to get it to 2 sentences. That's your job. Scorecard. We don't want to listen to why you're off track. Are you on track or off? I'm on track? Move on. I'm off track. Is it an issue? Yes. All right. Well, then let's talk about it in IES. Rock review. On plan, off track. On track, off track. Same basic things. Now you should be in 2 words. On track, off track. Don't want to talk about why, other than is it an issue? Yes. Boom. 3 words. You got that done. Think about how important, how quickly that will let you move through. Customer headlines, same thing. 2 to 3 sentences. That's all we want. And the to-do list. Hey, is it done or is it on? Is it on or off? And you'll find out how well you can do that. But it's report only. It is not politics. It is not drive deep, dark conversations. Not yet. That's what you do in IES. And so you discipline your team to stop all this. And then when you've got an issue, you drop it down so that you now are talking about the right things. As an organization, you've seen the report, you know what it's telling you. You've got observations, you've dropped them down, go solve them in the IES session. And this was absolutely dramatic. And then you conclude, you got to wrap the meeting up. But here's what you must do, and I'm not going to let you rate this meeting today. You rate the meeting. Why do you rate the meeting? Because you know what? When I was in Alaska and I first started, I did this exact thing, and I went through it, and this is my favorite example. They got through it, and I was getting 9s every day, every meeting, every week for the first 4 weeks. Just 9s coming through. Guess what? I got a 4. And it's like, whoa, what was the 4 for? And they said, well, it wasn't you, it was Tom. You let him talk way beyond. You know, I'm the new CEO, I've only been there 4 weeks, right? You let him talk way too much. You need to tell Tom to shut up. And that's what he said in the meeting. He said, hey, you just licensed me to be a whole lot more aggressive. I said, but my wife has this really special tool. Does anybody know what that is? That sign language will stop. So guess what we did in my level 10 meetings in Alaska? Whenever somebody was unintentionally going too long, they got the Jim McCarley. I didn't even talk. So like, hey man, burger. Just like my wife used to hear with my voice. So the reality is the meeting quality skyrocketed because everybody saw, oh my God, that just worked. So it isn't hard. It's simple. It's not easy. Why is it not easy? Because telling somebody to stop isn't my nature. And admitting a true score for a meeting that really was not good is hard. You don't want to do it. You don't want to. Do that. I'll tell you that. No, you got to do it here. You got to do that. So that's the beauty of the level 10. And everything else is going to come to you by email, and you don't need me to do it because I told you what was most important for me for your takeaway. So I hope that you'll be inspired. I hope that I've helped you be motivated. Even if you're a one-man band, go home. I've done it. Hold your own level 10 meeting and tell yourself to stop. Right? Get off of it and move on. So, thank you for your time, and I really appreciate it. If you want it, there's a free book in the back. No, nothing required. I was not here to sell today. I was here to educate and to help. So there's a free book. We will run it. They're hardback. Some people would rather have an audio. If you'd like an audio, I'll send you a free audio. If you run out of books, write your name on the sign-up sheet. Just give us an address. I'm not gonna spam you. I'm not gonna call you and ask you for any, any leads or any of that stuff. I promise. It's all about helping you, but I just don't want to be limited to 25 books and then there were more people that want. So thank you.
Thank you so much. So I will get everyone like some of these slides as well. We will send out an email to everyone. But I should use the mic. Just so y'all know, I'm just gonna go through this really fast. We do have upcoming events that are at the hub that we host. They are all the different programs that we have. Hopefully some of y'all have attended them before. But Murder Startup, this is October 4th through the 6th. It is a 3-day weekend event where we walk you through the business model canvas and how to actually, don't know how that happens, how you actually form a company. And so you get to work with different teams. And there we go. Okay. And so it is cool. You get free food, free swag, things like that. So you can register on our website. We also have Pantex Innovation Challenge. This is our second year to host this, and we give out $7,000 in cash prizes. Pantex, if you don't know who they are a plant in Amarillo, and they work with national security. And so you get an opportunity to actually work with Pantex leadership and a potential to work there if you ever want to. So you can actually meet them, and it's sort of like Regular Startup. We will go through different national security ideas to come up with different products or a company. So that more prizes there. And then we have our Redditor idea competition. So this is all virtual, and all you have to do is submit a 60-second video online, and then people just vote on your idea. So you have an opportunity to win $2,000 for this competition as well. And then our iLaunch competition, this is towards the end of the fall, but this is where we give out $10,000 as our top prize. And so this is like our version of Shark Tank. And so you will go through and you have to pitch to a panel of sharks that we have. And so if you're interested in that, we are hosting that too. And then Hub Camp, we are going to go through the business model canvas, and that actually helps you prepare for competitions like iLaunch that we host. And you will actually get to work with some of our mentors and have office hours with them. And this is all virtual for the fall one, and this is going to be on October 11th. And then we do actually host 1 Million Cups here at the Innovation Hub. And this is where we bring in different speakers, different small businesses, startups, and they get to tell you all about their company and how they started. And you get to actually ask them questions. So it is interactive. We do have free coffee. It is every first Wednesday of the month at 9 a.m. So it's in the same room. And then the last thing, our next Lunch and Learn is September 27th. And it's going to be Startup Chronicles, and we will have different startups, businesses that either went through the Innovation Hub or our businesses here in Lubbock. And we will have free food again. So hope to see y'all there. Let us know if you have any questions about any of the programs. Y'all have a great day.
We will email you the pitch deck so you can have
Yeah, of course. Good to see you.